Am I the a-hole for reporting the well-liked college professor who slept with my girlfriend? Hi, I'm Rachel, and welcome to Snacks and Scandals, where snacks meet Reddit story scandals. Today's episode theme is scandals at school, and our snack pairing are some jalapeno poppers, which are just like a school, harmless on the outside, but sometimes explosive on the inside. And to pair with our jalapeno poppers, we've got some Whataburger jalapeno ranch. And I love Whataburger, but we do not have any Whataburger here where I am. So this was at Walmart, and I thought it would be a perfect pairing to go with our jalapeno bites. So before we try our very hot jalapeno bites, we're going to read our first story. Am I the a-hole for reporting the well-liked college professor who slept with my ex-girlfriend? I, 21-year-old male, am about to enter my final year of school. I major in a STEM field. At this point, all of the people in my major pretty much know each other. Most of us have had mutual classes together, and we tend to see each other at events and conferences. There is one very charismatic professor that most students in this major take. I have taken him, as most of my friends. He is really friendly and an easy grader. Most of us see his class as a GPA booster. This semester, my ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old female, was taking his class. I noticed that she was getting a lot of personal texts from this professor. She started staying late in his office hours very frequently. I wanted to think she wasn't doing well in his class, but the class is easy street compared to what we have taken thus far. I admit I am a bit of an a-hole for this part, but I snooped through her phone. I found some very inappropriate texts from this professor to her. I was so stunned. I couldn't believe it. I verified that it was his number through a mutual friend. I confronted her about this immediately, and she tried to deny it at first, but when I asked her about the text, she admitted that she had been sleeping with him for 2 months. I told her to pack her crap and get out. Then I emailed the dean. We set up a meeting where I showed him the text and told him what happened. A couple of the other girls came forward too. Now this guy's in the process of being fired, and I don't know what that entails. He has reached out to some students, I guess, telling them what happened. Someone, I assume my ex, has told them that I was responsible for getting him in trouble. Now several people in my major think I'm a huge a-hole. I've been told I should have handled it in private instead of getting jealous. I have been given a whole consenting adult speech. I have been iced out of a couple of year-end events, and it really sucks. I do feel bad about the man losing his job, and apparently he was married, but am I the a-hole for what I did? No, your girlfriend is the a-hole, and definitely the professor. He abused his authority, and there was a definite difference in the whole power dynamic, and he was very influential to many students. That's why they were taking his class, okay? And this probably isn't the first time he has taken advantage sexually of a student. I wouldn't be surprised. So no, I don't think that this guy's the a-hole. The professor and the girlfriend are definitely the a-hole. She's young and impressionable, but I'm sure she still knew better than to cheat on her boyfriend. So let's read some comments. Not the a-hole. There is a reason they don't allow students to date teachers or employers to date their bosses. He ruined his own career and marriage with his decisions. It would have come to light eventually. Right. It most definitely would have. Not the a-hole. This professor is an unfathomable a-hole. I'm a STEM professor too, and the power differential is so much more obvious from the side of the table. Students need us for grades, letters of recommendation, and a livable reputation within their home major. Exploiting that vulnerability is evil. Even seeing how nervous and differential most students are when asking for a minute of my time makes it obvious how much power we have. Not to mention, when you're 30, 19-year-olds are so childlike in terms of their life experience and appearance. In 2019, there is literally no plausible deniability. Every school has a code of conduct that forbids sleeping with your students. Everyone's done sexual harassment training. Everyone knows better. If you decide to risk your job and some kid's future for your own personal gratification, you deserve every punishment you get. OP is the hero who protected his classmates from a predator, in my opinion. That's a very good point. They do most likely get a lot of training like this commenter said on what not to do, and he did exactly the opposite. Another person responded to that professor's comment and said, I'm a professor too. There's a lot of freedom and flexibility in the job, except for one huge rule. Don't have sex with students. It's pretty simple and easy actually to not exploit vulnerable people who you have some control over. Yeah, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. What he was doing was wrong. Abuse of power, especially if he was sleeping with current students. Also, he was married. That is so messed up for the wife too. You seem to have acted out of jealousy and anger though, which is understandable. I would have just broken up with her and tried to live my life. No need for all the extra drama. Sucks you're getting iced out though. Just find a new friend group and try to put all this in the past. Did he act jealous? I mean, of course he was jealous and probably his actions were out of jealousy, but like somebody else said, he did prevent other students from being taken advantage of by this professor. Not the a-hole. Almost every school has a code of conduct the students and teachers should abide by. And I've never heard of a school that didn't have something in place regarding faculty-student relationships. You did handle it privately. You emailed the dean and kept it between the two of you. Your ex is the one who most likely took it public. Very good point. He did handle it privately. He didn't blast it all over social media or what his ex-girlfriend did, which he certainly could have. That would have been public. But I think he handled it very maturely and wisely. And hopefully going forward, this will teach him some good life skills. So with that, let's get into our snack. I'm looking forward to this. I'm just going to taste our Whataburger jalapeno ranch. See how spicy it is? Yeah. Pretty spicy. Pretty spicy. Yep. Put that there. So like I said, explosive with these jalapeno poppers. Definitely explosive. Okay, let me try one first without the ranch. Tis good. Very good. But I hate with jalapeno poppers. The jalapeno usually comes out with the very first bite. Okay. I made it a point to bite that one off. It's good. It's good with the ranch. Doesn't add a lot of extra heat, but adds a good amount. And now for our second story. Am I the a-hole for reporting my teacher over a very uncomfortable joke? I, 20-year-old Vima, have been in a bakery course since September, and every Wednesday we have an 8-hour hands-on class. The teacher, male 50, is a very friendly man, but his sense of humor is kind of on the edge of acceptable. He had been making sex jokes about me and some other girls in my class all year, but they were still kind of funny. Last week, he called me from the other side of the room saying his friend sent him a video and it made him think of me as a joke. I approached him and he gets the video out. Everyone else was busy doing their thing. He showed me the video and skips through it. It was a lesbian orgy porn. I got super uncomfortable and froze. I couldn't do anything but chuckle in shock. I laughed it off, didn't say anything about it, and went back to what I was doing. I know I should have said something then, but I just couldn't. It's been making me lose sleep since last week. I feel grossed out, objectified, and my self-worth has plummeted. So today I decided to call someone at school who I trust. I told her what happened and that I wanted to arrange a meeting with witnesses where I tell him that he crossed a boundary. But she said she wanted to tell his boss and get an investigation started. Now he's going to get in trouble because of me, even though I wanted to give him a warning first. Am I the a-hole for reporting my teacher over a joke? No, no. And luckily you told a very wise friend who is going to get the real needed process started in getting this guy investigated, because what has he been doing to other students if he's been doing this to her? What kind of jokes and inappropriate behavior, and how far has he maybe even crossed the line with other students? And clearly his behavior needs to stop immediately. Other people have said, not the a-hole. A 50-year-old man knows that showing his student porn is not a joke. He wants you to think it's a joke, so you'll doubt yourself like you're doing now. You're not getting him in trouble. He's getting himself in trouble. Exactly. It's not a joke. It's sexual harassment. And it's just gross. Ew. So, I think that there's some men who have, got a lot going for them in their younger years. And then they grow older and they don't really realize that. And then they still flirt and carry on joking around with younger women, and it makes them uncomfortable. I find those types so annoying. And there's a lot of dads. Okay, a lot of dads who are like that. Gross. Not every dad, but there's a lot of dads who think it's cute. I've had experience with that, okay? Piggybacking off of the top comment, he's not trying to be funny. He's trying to see how far he can push you without you saying anything. This will very quickly turn hands-on sexual assaults. I mean, it'll just continue to progress, really. Not the a-hole. This isn't a joke. It's sexual harassment. Please report him. The OP responded, I have. I'm just scared that if nothing comes out of the investigation, that it'll hurt my chances to graduate. No. When you're young, or not even just young, but when you're in the situation, it's so hard to deal with. I've had, not like this in particular, but situations where you need to go forward with some information that you have. And it is so hard not to worry about retaliation. I totally get where she's coming from. Not the a-hole. An uncomfortable joke would be this: the teacher watching you need some dough and then saying, I think your buns are going to be beautiful, realizing what he said, laughing, and then apologizing for laughing. That's an uncomfortable joke. Very good example, very specific example. Showing you hardcore porn is so far past an uncomfortable joke that they're not even in the same league. See that very fuzzy dark thing in the distance? That's the line he crossed. This is outright harassment and he should be fired for it. Your teacher isn't an a-hole. He's a criminal. This is a crime. Right. She's barely an adult, too. Not the a-hole. He's been testing the females all year if he's been making sexual joke. It's grooming behavior, trying to make himself seem less threatening. It's just a joke. He absolutely knows better, and reporting him was the right thing to do. So thank goodness the OP has really great friends. Let's see if there's any updates to this, since the OP has responded to some comments. And there is an update, actually. We are now a few weeks after I reported him. Last week I had my first class with the teacher. I have to go do an exam about chocolate for him now. School did jack crap. They talked to him once. He's acting like he didn't do anything wrong. He won't talk to me. He's bitter towards people that stand with me. At least I only have 2 more classes and then my end examination. I feel like crap. I don't know what will happen to my grades. The grades from the day he showed me the video have yet to be posted online, so I have no idea whether he is grading objectively or not. Thanks for all your advice on my few posts a week ago. It really helped me through all this crap. What he did wasn't a joke. Doesn't matter if he knew this himself or not. It wasn't okay. I know this now, and I take confidence out of that fact. Anyway, I'm off to make some praline chocolates. Thanks again. People have read it. Love you. That is so... What a crappy school. Once I'm done with that school, I would write a Google review and be very specific about what happened. Somebody writes, if your grades are affected by this, your school might have a process to test the grade. At my university, they're called grade grievances, and it's a way to ensure that professors can't treat a student unfairly. I would talk to probably academic advising or student affairs about this. I'm just really shocked that the school handled that so poorly. What lesson does that teach this poor student that they won't be able to go forward with issues and have them dealt with appropriately? That's a terrible lesson to learn early in life. And hopefully they know better and will continue to stand up for themselves. I am so sorry the school did nothing and that you have to deal with this. Unfortunately, I'm also not surprised. Any chance you'd put up a public post about the school? Send like it's the only way to get anything done about this sort of behavior. Plus, I know I wouldn't want to sign up for a class with someone like that. Best of luck with your exams. The OP responded, I kind of understand their reasoning. No, it's only a couple more classes, and bringing in another teacher at this point might make things difficult for my classmates, so I'm not going to make more of a fuss about it. But next year, I'm definitely going to another school to follow a chocolate and ice cream making course. What in the world? What in the world? This school really blows. Really blows. Okay, one more comment. Hi, if you tell me the name of this school, I will call and demand your justice. I have been a higher ed employee in Chicago for 8 years, and this is beyond anything you need to be dealing with. It's absolutely unacceptable, and what he's doing is now is called retaliation, and it is illegal and enforced by Title whatever number that is, as is the first instance of sexual harassment. Everyone here should be very surprised by this. I'm telling you, this is not anything a school should or can ignore. It's very illegal. I want to help you. But the OP unfortunately didn't respond to that one. Maybe once the OP is out of that school, then they can handle it, let somebody handle it for them. And now for our final story. Am I the a-hole for having a student removed from my class after she made an inappropriate story about me and another teacher? I, 30-year-old male, am an 8th grade middle school ELA teacher. Recently, I had a student who I'll call Becky. Becky has autism and struggles to know what is socially appropriate to say and or do. So I and many other teachers were more lax when she broke certain rules, as she was not usually a repeat offender. She is a very creative writer, and I noticed that a lot of the stories that she has shown me usually have romance themes. Recently, she wrote a very sexual story involving me and a fellow teacher, a 35-year-old male. I do not feel comfortable describing it, but it was uncomfortable enough that I wanted to keep a distance from this kid, as I have a wife and kids and feel uncomfortable with the idea of cheating on my wife. She kept making different parts to this to show me, and on the last part, I asked her to stop writing this because I am deeply uncomfortable with these stories. She did not. She just started passing the stories around to other people, which eventually got back to a student who reported it. I had enough and reported it to admin, who recommended that I request her to be removed from my class. Her parents are livid and accusing me of discriminating against her, that she doesn't understand social situations and needs more help, and punishing her for her disability is illegal. Admin is not backing me up. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole. The parents are the a-hole, and the school administration's people are the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You're requesting she leave your classroom due to sexual harassment. Right. Their parents' lawsuit has no teeth. There's absolutely no court that will even remotely consider setting a precedent that sexual harassment must be tolerated and allowed to continue in the workplace just because a child who is capable of knowing better has autism. That's not the work you signed up for. You're a classroom teacher. Admin recommended that you request she be removed from your class, so you did, and now they are not backing you up. Shouldn't you just be referring the parents to the administration as it was their idea in the first place? Am I missing something? The OP responded, the parents are threatening a lawsuit for rights to FAPE, F-A-P-E. So admin is not backing me up anymore in fear of getting sued. Well, the admin need to stand their ground and say, hey, this girl was writing inappropriate stories and maybe you need to talk to your daughter, huh? Not the a-hole. Just as much as Becky deserves an education, you deserve a workplace where you don't have to be sexualized and have to be exposed to sexual fiction about yourself. You're not doing anything to interfere with her education, just to stop harassment from a student. Teachers aren't obligated to ignore students who are sexually inappropriate with them. And our final comment, not the a-hole. If a coworker had started writing these about you and another coworker, they would be fired. And it literally makes no difference that she's underage or if she's disabled. This is sexual harassment. And if admin won't back you up on this, start using those exact words to them and see how quickly things turn around. I don't think I would probably use those words to the administration because that might get you fired. And things have then at that point gotten way out of proportion. So let me hear from you. What kind of school scandals have you heard of or been involved in, maybe? And what did you think of these stories in particular? And do you like jalapeno poppers? Or have you ever even tried them? I highly recommend trying them if you like spice. They're pretty mild, if I do say so myself. So thank you so much for watching this episode, and I hope you'll join me for the next one.